Nicholas Bell, a film critic with IONCINEMA, and I'm here speaking with Natalia López Gallardo for her directorial debut, Robe of Gems, at the 72nd Berlinale in the competition.
That's right.
So I saw your film a couple days ago, and very impressed by it, but also I've seen every feature you've edited, I've seen as well, which I'm a fan of. Even The Darkness, which I saw a few years ago as well.
Ah, that's nice.
And I'm familiar with your starring role in Our Time as well, which, having been married quite some time myself, that film felt very authentic and moving in ways that has stuck with me since I've seen that as well.
That's great.
But for Robe of Gems, I want to start with the title.
Yeah.
Because the first time I watched it, I wasn't aware of the Spanish language title being a geological term, and knowing that has made me rethink a lot of how I felt about it. Because initially, I really liked the last shot and how that title kind of fits with that as well. But so
let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about the title.
The title. The idea came from something that I read or heard. I don't remember quite well, but I think it's a Buddhist idea that said that reality is like a robe of gems, that in every gem the others are reflected.
Nice, yeah.
So when I remember that idea, not only provoked me an image, that I like that so much when titles like provoke you some image, but I think that the idea is very related with the film, because I always had the necessity to create something as community-wise, like a web, and not focus in one character or one point of view, but create an atmospheric description of a place, like of a universe.
Right.
So the title, and of course the last shot of the scene talks also about the empathy at the end, like I felt myself as a spectator, like a static spectator, like somehow like a burning fire world.
You used the same cinematographer on Our Time.
Adrián Durazo.
Yes. I want to talk about how. Well, first of all, how long was the shoot?
We shot for 5 weeks.
5 weeks, okay.
5 weeks, no more. I wish I could have more time, really. I think that time is the most precious thing in the shooting. And we stopped in the middle of the shooting. We shot 2 weeks, 2 weeks and a half or something like that, and we stopped in 2020,
because
in March. Yes, because of the COVID, and then we but start the shooting again 1 year later.
Oh wow, yeah, you can't tell at all. It looks great.
Yeah.
I felt I liked the use of violence in a way that it didn't feel like shock value. It felt very much to me like the women were just kind of absorbing that violence along with everything else. And what was more cold and cruel to me was kind of their experiences with other women, like Roberta's boss or Isabel's mother. Like, to me, those were the most, felt like a bigger slap than the violence. So I really like this idea of how they're all, you called it a collage, about how they're all victims and assailants in this system. Was that always the idea going in, or was it just always the idea of the missing girl and that all fell into place?
No, the idea was kind of an abstract thing that had to do with the collage. Definitely. And as I said, to describe like a universe. So I never thought of one character. I always thought about like somehow a woman that's split in other women, in other dimensions of the same character. And you're right about the violence between women, and of course it happens between humans.
Sure.
And,
yeah.
But between women, have a particular taste, I think.
Yes, it cuts so deep.
It's so deep.
Yes, like in very simply and I guess effectively film-wise, but yeah, that it hurts the most.
Yes.
Like I can feel it.
Yes. Yes.
You said casting. I read that you took over a year for casting.
Yes, yes. I cast during the research too because I was talking to a lot of people all around the state. So I took photos and names and telephones during that period a lot. Roberta, I knew her since before writing, and I was very attracted to her. Like I not knew her, but I have sung her around the town, and so I searched directly for her. And also the mother, Monica Poggio, that is the mother of Isabel in the film, the Argentinian woman. I always met, like, I have known her for years, so
Okay.
I write, like, thinking about her. But the others I met during the research, and then, in the casting process. I think that the casting process is like writing, as important as writing.
Well, I think was Paul Schrader says that you can mess up a whole film without the right casting. So, so you had a mix of kind of first-time actors and some professionals, because Isabel's played by, if I'm saying her name wrong, Nailea Norvind. And I was looking her up. Comes from a very interesting background as well. Immediately I want to read what her mother wrote.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That was my first conversation with her because I knew like the history of her mother.
Yeah, very.
And I felt very attracted.
Yeah, that's very. Yes, it's like, oh, I want to know more. Was there an order of casting, or did you cast her first, or?
No. I cast her at the end. Very end.
Okay.
Yeah, at the very end. I was looking for a Occidental thinking woman.
Sure.
But not white, and it was very difficult. Very difficult in Mexico. So at the end, I decided myself for Nalia because of her personality. But I was a little bit conflicted about the whiteness and the Norwegian background of Nailea. Yeah.
But I mean, But
Mexico is a mix. So,
it is a mix. I didn't think that at all until learning that about her afterwards.
Okay.
So,
that's good.
But I was also struck, and I really liked. We're at such a distance from all the characters, and then you have these close-ups of the women, and they're always they're so internalized, and I feel like we project so much on their faces about what's going on when you see them up close, and I'm assuming that was on purpose.
Yes. I did a few close-ups, and it's hard for me to get too close. I think that sound penetrates you absolutely, and an image somehow I feel more comfortable with sound somehow, and with image I always feel it's a distance. The limits are there somehow.
Yes. Yeah.
So I like to be very respectful with the distance when I'm getting closer to somebody. But yes, you can definitely feel the internal world of someone if you get close, of course.
Yeah, I think that in that way it's used so effectively, because I think close-ups can be used, too much, and you kind of, as we do to anything, grow a little numb to what's going on.
Yeah.
But the few times they're used here, I think, work really well.
And talking about closeness, what you said at the beginning, about the violence not portrayed in a obvious and on your face method, nor blood, nor hitting. I was trying to approximate things from a collateral kind of space, like suggesting just suggesting, because it's too complex. Everything is too complex.
Yes, and that can distract, and then your focus, like it takes, violence sometimes takes you out of it. But the scene where Isabel is running naked when they're playing with her, of course, has an effect. But to me, it's again nothing like kind of how cold her mother is, and that even the first scene with her husband, where we don't quite know their relationship yet, where they have. That she turns him down sexually and he throws a tantrum. But going back again, I like all of that.
That's nice. Because there are layers,
Yeah.
And if you can enjoy the layers and just experience the present in the scenes, you're fed up, at
Right.
the end.
Yes, yeah, and then and as a film going back and realizing how that all fits, I like. I noticed that there are 2 other editors credited. Was that, since you've kind of edited all these other features, was that always a plan?
At some point, in 2 moments during the editing process, I needed someone on my side, and the 2 of them are close colleagues and dear friends. And I know deeply the editing process, and sometimes you need like another human,
Right.
when a human which you can communicate,
Right.
and that's it. You can reflect yourself, and the other human reflects yourself. So something happened. So I was in the search for that.
Okay.
Like in those
Well,
2 moments.
I was surprised because being
I was
so
feeling too
familiar,
alone.
right? But being so familiar with your other films, I was just surprised even looking at the credits that you had 2 others, because it felt very much in line with your other collaborations.
Yes.
To close out, so this is your debut, and it's been 2007 was your short that premiered at Cannes. Will you be?
A long time has been.
Right, but will as much time pass before the next feature, or? Okay.
I want to shoot soon.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I really want to, because I'm eager to learn more. You learn so much, like
Sure.
a lot about too many things, like human-wise things. So,
Right.
Yeah.
And I think people forget how close an editor is in relation to a project, how much their imprint is on it as well. Because everybody talks about the director, obviously, and the cinematographer, but the editing is, that's a whole separate process, and where the film is really crafted. I get
maybe too involved in the projects when I edit. I love editing.
I think it comes across in those films, like post Tenebras Lux, But and this film, so I'm glad that you're going to be working on something else.
Yes.
So it's a pleasure to speak
Carlos
with you.
is going to shoot in Poland at some point. Where do you live?
I live in the U.S. I live in LA.
In
but
LA.
I've been to Poland. That's where I saw The Darkness, was in the Warsaw Film Festival. But yeah, Poland's nice, dark, gloomy.
Definitely.
Perfect.
I would love it because of that.
Yes.
So special.
That's exciting. And are you editing that?
I don't know.
You don't know yet? Okay. All right.
I don't know.
Well, thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
It's too short.
It always is, but that's okay.
Hey, this is Eric from IONCINEMA.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.